everybody, and welcome. I thought I would do a screencast to show you how I do this portion of my personal site for my new website. When I launched it, what I wanted to do was display the last 5 films that I've watched recently and grab this data from Letterboxd. Letterboxd does have an API, but you have to authenticate for every single request, and the authentication is a little bit more advanced than what I know how to do. You cannot do it via URL, so it's a little more complicated. So I didn't want to have to figure out how to do that out. So what instead I did was I found an NPM package which parses this RSS feed that Letterboxd creates for you, and essentially takes all of this information and gives it to you in JSON form. So what we're going to do in this screencast is learn how to pull in this information and create this little awesome little sidebar kind of thing. We're not going to go into CSS today, but we'll do some really cool stuff. So let's get started. I don't have my local server running, so I'll do npm start to get that going. And in the meantime, what I'm going to do is inside of our data folder, I'm using Eleventy, so if you're using something else, you'll have to figure out how exactly to do that. Inside of our data folder, we'll create a new file, and we'll call this letterboxd.js. And inside of letterboxd.js, the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to pull in that Letterboxd package. So we'll say const letterboxd equals require letterboxd. I got to remember to spell that correctly. Then we'll do module.exports equals async. And this is going to be an empty function. All right, so inside of here, what we're going to do is grab our items. So we'll do const items equals await, and then from the documentation, it says that we need to call the Letterboxd function, pass in our username, and then inside of this, we're also going to do another function and get this error callback as well as our items. So, let's do that. Let's close this tab, actually. Let's bring this one over here. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to call that Letterboxd function, and we're going to pass in our username. In this situation, I'm going to use mine, which is ttimsmith. Then we'll do the error and items and open up this function. And I'm actually going to close this sidebar so that there's more space and you can see everything. Okay. So in here, we want to catch an error if there is one. It's an RSS feed, so I don't think there should be errors, but and we'll console log those out, or that error out. And then otherwise, we'll just return items. We're using the Letterboxd function to pass in our username, and then we're going to get all these items returned as JSON. So now I'll go over to my home HTML file, because this is where this is the template that I use to display this page. So just to make sure that things are working, we're going to do letterboxd dump, and this we can call, there we go. We can call Letterboxd because that is the name that we gave our file over here. Let's see if anything is showing up. Oh, nothing is showing up. Let's look at the console. What do we do now? I already need another cup of coffee. Okay, now we should have our items. Oof, there we go. Okay, so we've got we got this dump of like all of these items that we're getting from Letterboxd. This is not helpful at all. So what I usually do is I'll come over here and then just say JSON formatter. I've been using this one. I don't know if it's great, but anyway. Oops. I am pasting way too much stuff in there. All right, there we go. Okay, that should be correct. We still might have some. Okay, so now we see what we're getting back here. So first we'll see that this is type of diary. This Letterboxd NPM package gives us two different types of items, diary entries and lists. Now I don't use lists, so my RSS feed will never have those. So all of them are going to be diaries. Anyway, so then it'll give us the date published and the date watched. I'm not sure what the difference is between these. If like published is the date that the actual diary entry was made, and then this one was the one that was watched. I'm not sure. I'm using the watched one because that's the one I care about. Then inside of our film, this film object, we have the title, the year, we have our images inside of here. We also have the rating that we assigned it. We can either use the text, which just gives us, the symbols of the stars together with the fraction. If we gave it like a half rating, for example, this one down here, I gave this 3.5 stars. So then it would show us 3 stars and then the fraction symbol. So this is great. Now we can use this stuff to mark up our page. So we'll go back to home. And are we going to create this partial? We might as well create this partial. Let's see if it already exists or if I deleted it properly before I did this. Yes, I deleted it properly. Okay. So we're going to create a new partial and we're going to call this film diary.html. And inside of film diary, the first thing I like to do is I want to trim or slice, whatever terminology you want to call it. I only want the 5 last items. I don't want all of these. I'm not sure how many it returns, but I think it's like around 20. Oh no, it says right here, array 50. So it returns 50 different items. I don't want 50 on my homepage. So what I want to do is first, I want to trim this array or slice this array. So what we're going to do is we'll set letterboxd items to equal letterboxd slice, and we'll pass in from 0 to 5. So we want the first 5 items essentially. Let's remove this dump from there, and we'll uncomment this part out so that we can see what we're doing here. Okay, so there's going to be a few different classes here that I'm going to add that are very specific to my site. So keep that in mind. But I hope, the way that we're handling the data is kind of the same. So what we'll do is we'll create a div called films. And I want to give that a frame because that's the style of my site. And I want to use my light glare color for the background. Inside of here, what I'm going to do is and say div dot film items, and this is where I'm going to loop over my film items. So for item in letterboxd items, and be sure to close that tag and for. I'm using Nunjucks, by the way, so I feel like it looks a lot like Liquid, which is nice because I used to use Jekyll before this, so it was an easy transition for me. So I'm going to use an article, and I'll call this film entry. And inside of this article, I am going to wrap the whole thing in a URL because I want the whole thing to be clickable. And, we'll just do, and here we'll say item dot, let's get the link. So what do we need to do? Okay, so the keyword is URI. So we'll say URI, close those brackets, and open up this link. And we're going to give this a class of film URL, like that. So inside of here, we're going to display the poster for the movie. And I'm going to do this a little bit differently here because I'm using Cloudinary to pass in all of these images so that I get the best quality and the smallest file. But we're going to just grab them straight from the RSS feed. So to do that, we'll say film media. And inside of here, we'll use an image. And the source for this, we want the film image, and I grab the tiny one. So in the source, we'll say item.film.image.tiny under the source. For the alt text, I'll say poster 4. And what we want is item film title. So item.film.title. All right, so let's see what we've got. Yeah, there we go. So our images are coming in. Great. And then I also put in here loading equals lazy. More and more browsers are supporting this, so I'm going to start using that. All right. So that is our image. Now we'll do the info that we want from this film. So inside of here, we'll say, let's create a span, and this is where we're going to put the title. So we'll say item.film.title. And what I do, right, like I don't even put a space in here, but I just do another span tag, span. Come on. Will it expand? Okay. And then in here, I'm going to do item.rating.text. And we'll put this right next to it so that there's no spaces. Yay. I'm going to give this a class of film rating. And then the last thing that I'm going to do is I want to show where or what date I watched this. So film watched date. I'm not super happy with that class, but you know, it's what I chose at the time. And then here I have a special filter called date letterboxd, which essentially just parses the date that I get returned and outputs this really nice, you know, Wednesday, July 22nd, 2020. And I'm using the Moment JavaScript library to do that. So there we go. We have our films coming in with their poster, their title, the rating that was given, and then the date that it was watched. And that's how you can use this Letterboxd NPM package to bring in your film diary into your personal site. I hope you found this cool and like educational. And if you liked it, definitely let me know. If you have any questions, also let me know. I'm Smith Timmy Tim on Twitter. Hope you're having a great day.